publicly, if they happen to be watching this, I forgive you. I forgive you if you're out there, because I can't think global if I don't make a difference local.
Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick, body that nigga.
Who are these people?
Who are these people?
Who are y'all, bro? Oh my God.
This is the beginning of my villain arc. I go home and I'm trying to eat this hot and ready pizza, but the only thing that's hot and ready is me.
It's you. Yo, what is up with you guys? It is your boy Jay, and we are back with another great episode of Everybody Hates Jabber. Welcome back to the page. Welcome back to the channel. We appreciate everybody that's coming back, staying tuned in for the new episodes. We got a great episode for you guys today. We've got Mr. Emeka Nnaka on the pod today, man. How you feeling today, man?
Feeling great, man. Feeling good.
Great. I appreciate you coming by today, man, sitting down with me and kind of enjoying this conversation that we're about to have. So thank you for that.
I look forward to it.
For sure, man. So you have an amazing story, like a story of resilience, overcoming adversity, downright grit, you know what I mean? Like once being a professional athlete, suffering a major injury, now you become like a beacon of hope, you know what I'm saying, for people that are kind of going through the same thing that you have went through, and for people that, just have faced some type of thing and are trying to get back and find their purpose in life, you know what I mean? So where does your journey begin?
Man, it's interesting. When I talk about my journey, I usually start with like when I moved to Tulsa.
Okay.
But my journey, began long before that, because
right.
Again, I'm from Georgia, and so
Okay.
I grew up in Georgia. I grew up a little bit in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I had a lot of different experiences back then that shaped me who I was when I moved here.
Right.
But I guess I would say that my Oklahoma journey began when I came here for school at Oral Roberts University.
Okay, gotcha.
Moved here for college, when I was like 19.
Okay. How old are you now?
36.
36. Okay, so you've been here for a good amount of time then.
Good
so far.
amount of time.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I wanted to start with too, is that kind of like before you came here, I noticed the name Emeka Nnaka, not necessarily a traditional American name. So you said it was Nigerian.
It's Nigerian. Igbo.
Okay.
I'm an Igbo Nigerian. I lived there when I was 14, 15, 16.
Oh, okay.
And then came back to Georgia. And that was a crazy experience, man. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy and that's such a formative year. I get dropped off. And the thing was, when I was younger, I just got in trouble. And my parents, being African, just like, hey, you're going to go home and like learn a little bit about your culture,
right,
and then come back.
Right.
And so like going there, coming back to the States, what changed me, because I went with a lot. Life there is so different than life here. We take so much stuff here for granted.
Right.
And so that was like one of my first major like worldview changes. And so I'm Igbo born, and so my name there is common as Mike here.
Oh, really?
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy. So I went by my last name like when I lived there.
Okay. They just like called you Nnaka then?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. What was it like? So whenever you were born in America then, or were you born in Nigeria?
Born in DC.
Okay.
Moved to Georgia. Spent that time in Nigeria for a little bit, came back to Georgia, and then came out here for college.
How was it like whenever you went back to Nigeria? Like, how much of a cultural difference was it? Like, as far as
culture shock, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just from everything, from like you get there, and the weather is different. The heat is dry.
Right.
The time change, but also just how you interact with people is different. I went there, as this American kid thinking that I could just run shit. And, got humbled real quick. And
really?
Because they're seniority is huge.
Okay.
And so I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine. They were twins. And so the older twin was smaller than the second twin that came out. But the older twin would always punk his brother. Like, one day I'm like, yo, bro, just punk him. Just push him. Like, you bigger than him. He's like, no, I can't. That's my senior.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? About like 2 minutes, like beat on this man, and he was just like, no, that's my senior brother. And so, I learned a lot about like respect. The food was spicy.
Yeah. Yeah.
just everything was just different.
With the spicy food, was that something that you were like, that you had to get used to, or?
Yeah, because I thought
Yeah.
I knew spice in my home in
Right,
Georgia,
right.
but it's different when you
there.
get there and you get the spices that's homegrown. And
Yeah.
like there are times dinner I just kind of like pretended like to eat, and then I just
really
tossed
eat
the
it.
shit. Like I had to. It took me some time, man. But now I'm a seasoned vet. Like
Really?
I
You
can
handle it
eat
now?
some spices. I like some spices.
See, that's probably how I would be, because I can eat spicy, but I'm not like super spicy, you know. But like I remember one Christmas, I went to my my late homie. He just passed away not that long ago. Tuna. I went to his house for Christmas, and man, when I tell you that his family had the hottest tamales, they're a Mexican family. Bro, oh my gosh, I could not eat it, and they were so good, but I couldn't do it, man.
And the craziest thing is those spices from different countries hit your taste buds in different ways. 'Cause
Yes.
I thought I had spice, and then another homeboy of mine from Liberia, his mom used to cook for us.
Yeah.
And her spices would, oh my God, it laid live enough stuff that I didn't even know like existed in my mouth. Yo, this is a crazy ass like spice. Like my mouth is a different type of hot.
Yes,
right now.
a different type of
it's
hot.
a good hot, but it's different.
See,
So,
mine was like, and it would start off so good, and I would take a few bites, and this is so good.
Come
and
on,
then
late.
like, oh my gosh, man, when it hit you, it was like a ton of bricks, man. Just
this boy needs some milk.
need some milk for real. And the worst part was like, you know, because like, especially when you go to like other places, you know, not in America, like they're so like hospitable, you know what I mean? They want to feed you, they want to make sure you're ate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So his family the entire day kept coming up to me like, "Are you hungry? Eat more. I haven't seen you eat." And I'm like, I'm trying. I promise.
My
I'm trying.
insides is begging for help.
They
Like,
begging
I
right
need ice
now.
cream now.
Oh man. So when did sports kind of reveal itself to you? Was that early on, or?
Man, so it was one of those things where, like, I was athletic. I mean, I played sports when I was younger, but not too organized. And I played sports in Nigeria, but again, it wasn't that organized. So when I came back, I was already a part of a semi-pro team in Georgia before I moved here, which was one of the harder things leaving Georgia to come to Tulsa, actually.
Really?
And so when I got this opportunity, really the craziest thing was like I was just like working and I was like mopping a floor and bumped into a guy who was like, "Hey, like, dang, you're huge. Like, you should be playing sports." I was like, "Yeah, I want to." And he offered, he gave me this opportunity and I tried out, made the team. And so now it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, sports is going well and I love it. And it's, who doesn't want to, be paid to
play sports. Yeah, right.
And so there were some opportunities that opened up for me to go to school at different places, and that at that point, like, sports is now taken over academia, because academia was in the dumps. Like my transcripts, bro, I was not.
How
doing
come?
so
Was you
hot.
you just didn't like school, or
At the time, just more so focused on partying, having a good time, and so like I knew I was a smart kid. Like I'm a very intelligent person, enjoy learning, but enjoy playing as well. And so when I first got to school, that play part was at the top of my priorities.
Of course, yeah.
And then, get put on academic probation, and it's like, dang, what am I about to do now?
Yeah.
And so when sports became a thing, that was like my way out. Like, okay, I got another chance. And what person doesn't want another chance at, like,
for sure,
redeeming yourself
and becoming successful.
Yeah. And so that was it. And so I still remember when I got the call to go to school from a coach, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, like when school comes up, like, we want to have you, and that was like, wow, lights on. Like, this is my opportunity that I've been praying for."
What school was that?
Missouri Valley State.
Okay.
And so it was just a chance to leave Tulsa, and in a couple weeks after that, found myself in a situation that I could not even prepare myself for.
Right. So whenever you came to Tulsa, were you like in school then, or?
Yeah, I know. So when I moved here, I was in school at Oral Roberts, but I was just taking like business classes and stuff.
Right.
And so I would work, and I also moved here nursing like a knee injury, and so I was kind of just working out with the athletes at ORU. And then when I got this opportunity to play, it was like one of those things I had to figure out, can I play the sport while going to this school? And there was no, red tape that I had to cross. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And
Talk about that grind, man. Like, what was it like to be on that grind, just working every day to try to become better, workouts, practices?
So when we talk about like having like hope and like knowing that you have this goal that's in front of you and you've got a way to get to it and you believe that you can do it, you know, that drives you. And so
Yes.
whether you're working out, you know, 2-a-days or practicing or studying film, like it just becomes a part of like the process, right? And so you follow athletes and, you know, been around athletes. When you talk about like, wanting to be great, they always talk about falling in love with the process, not necessarily the outcome. I love working out.
Yeah.
Like I love being in the gym. I just love being around my teammates because that was a time that we made the work fun.
Right. Right.
And it was just one of those things where we just pushed each other. Like I have one of my late teammates, Joey Crawford, one of the best athletes I've been around. And I remember just always pushing ourselves against each other because he was the greatest athlete I played with.
Right.
Him and Prentice, Elliott, like they were just great athletes.
Right.
And so working out with them, and it was just like, you know what, I'm just going to keep talking shit and like, trying to beat you because I know that that's going to make me better. Like, our running our 40s and lifting, and boy, that boy was strong. Joey was strong. But like that was something that was like always like just a part of it. Like, and I don't know how to describe falling in love with the process. It was just like, you just got to, I think people get into the gym and they feel that initial buildup of lactic acid that like hurts at first.
Yeah.
But then, you have to like mentally push through. And then once you mentally push through, the physical will follow.
Yeah.
And so I think that people kind of will feel physical or that thing that they can feel, and that kind of, breaks them early. And it's like one of those things, one of the things about the grind is just endurance.
Yeah.
It's not even like I got to do more. It's just like,
I just
do.
I just got to do.
You got to do. And do it for consistently for a good enough time.
Right.
And the breakthrough happens. And so that, during the sports, that I'm pretty sure that is what has been instilled in me.
Yeah, I mean, because that's one of those things that just transfers to life, period. You know what I mean? Like, every day in life, like, if you want to be successful, like, there's things that you're going to have to do that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And you got to have to just keep doing those things and pounding it out until eventually you get to that point where you either fall in love with that or, you can delegate that to someone else. But regardless, like, especially in that beginning phase, there's going to be those times where you just got to like put your head down and pound through it no matter what it is.
Bro, so today I'm a speaker. And so I remember my first months when I decided like, okay, I'm going to do the speaking thing.
Right.
And like I had identified that I was going to be in schools. And so built my website. It's like, all right, I'm going to tell you, I'm a school assembly speaker. To do that, I downloaded the list of all the Oklahoma schools, every school in Oklahoma, and went down each list by county, suburb, from the closest to the furthest, called every school, and was like, hey, I'm trying to come speak. I'm trying to come speak. And that was during grad school. Every single like call and every single like hour spent was like, I hate this, but like that, it did something. Like it did something. Like it's just like you got to put energy in. I had a friend of mine that used to always tell me about like the pipeline. It's like, yo, you got to fill the pipeline by like working and grinding early, and then you'll get to a point where like the seeds that you planted are starting to produce fruit, and now you can turn it on and off when you want to.
Yeah.
And that is like, I think about that all the time when it comes to like, okay, if this is something that I want, what is the dirty work that I have to do to get on the other side?
Yeah, man, and that like is literally my entire mindset right now. You know what I mean? Because I have so many things that like I'm trying to like. I envision my life, 10 years from now, and everything that I see is like something that requires lots of work, lots of dirty work, lots of going through those motions of those times where like I don't want to be here. Like doing these podcasts now, like. There's nights where I'm up until 3:00 in the morning plugging away at the computer, editing, you know what I mean? And
People don't see the backside.
They don't see that, man. Like, they don't see how hard we work to do the things that we want to do. You know what I mean? They just see they just see the hour-long video that they get put out on Instagram,
the
or
funny
the
clip
reels,
a little
the
bit,
funny
yeah.
clips or something, and they just think like, I could do that, or I should, and you can, you know what I mean? But you got to be prepared for that dirty work, man. I seen a clip once, and I've mentioned it a few times, where Ice Cube was saying that, like, you got to be prepared to put in 5 years with no pay. Like, if you're not prepared to work at least 5 years without making a single dime, don't even start.
Yeah,
and I was
facts.
just like, man, like, that is so real, man. Like, so real.
Anytime anyone asks me about advice about being a speaker, I'm just like, get ready. Like, the thing is, you just got to talk, but don't think that you're just going to talk and everyone's going to start throwing money at you. Like, you got to talk and you got to, like, put in that work. You know, have you ever read the book Outliers?
I have not.
So it's a Malcolm Gladwell book, and in the book they talk about, you'll hear people talk about 10,000 hours, and it's putting in 10,000 hours of work into any craft to establish a mastery.
Right.
And the thing is, you can't get away from doing the reps. Like, no matter how talented you are, like I love the NFL. Like, all these rookies just came in, and even if you were the top rookie in the league coming in, you can't just get by with what you came in with. You have to get the reps in, and you have to, like, put in that 10,000 hours if you want to master your craft.
Right.
Same thing with anything in life, like anything that we desire. When I think about, like you just said, you have like the 10-year plan. We should all have a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan.
Right.
And along with that, we should all be prepared to put in the hours that are going to come with, if I say I want this, there is something that I have to do to get that. And it's not going to always be like great until the end. Like, it's going to be dirty at first until it gets clean. Yeah. Like, the process of a diamond being made is an ugly, brutal process. Like, I talk about statues and masterpieces, and one of my favorite quotes comes from Michelangelo, not the Ninja Turtle, but the the sculptor. I read in the book, someone asked him, how does he identify a masterpiece in these blocks of stone? Right. And he said that in every block of stone, there's a masterpiece. It is simply my job to knock off the excess stone. And so I look at that, like, I look at life and look at myself as like that masterpiece. And life is just knocking off excess stone. But have you ever looked at what like how a statue gets created? It's a chisel, it's a hammer, it's sparks, it's chink. It don't look glorious. It's painful. And sometimes life will chisel away at you, and it's painful. But you know what masterpiece is going to come. Like, the smoothing process is still to feel good is going to hurt good. Like, it's going to hurt bad sometimes. And so I just feel like we should all, like, have that plan, but also, like, make sure that we count the cost, and sometimes not even counting, just know that there's going to be a price to be paid. That's it.
Do you believe in, like, manifestation and stuff like that?
I do. I feel like when you write something down, I feel like you've already closed the distance between you and that thing. Because now it's established, and so, like, you're now working half the time, like, to get to it, and it's working to get to you as well. Because how many times do we think about, like, oh, there's this thing that I want to do, but then I don't write it down and I forget about it. And then maybe it comes back to mind, but then it's like, between that time, the last time I thought about it and this time I thought about it, how many opportunities have I missed that could have led me closer to it? And so I'm a big proponent of, like, just put it on paper, because when it's down and you just look at it, now just kind of in the forefront of your mind.
It's there,
And it's like, okay, when things happen in your, like, seasons, it's like, you know what? I'm closer to this goal than I, like, think. Let me do XYZ steps to that. I have a running bucket list that I keep on my phone. And I started this list in 2015. And a lot of the things that I've checked off of this list, like, a lot of the bigger things that are on my list were there, like, years before. Like, they were accomplished. And I'm like, that's crazy when I look back at it.
What kind of things are on that list?
So I've been on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
I seen that.
That was on my list to meet Ellen DeGeneres in 2015. And that happened in 2018.
Wow.
I get a memory on my there's a memory that I see that pops up on my Facebook from when I shared something from the show in 17 or 16, and I said something along the lines of like, it'd be dope to like be up here
one day, yeah. And then you were there.
Then I was there.
And you've been there what, 3 times now?
3 different times.
What is that like being on that with Ellen?
Man, that experience was wild.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of energy, and especially like when you're in Hollywood and they talk about like the bright lights of Hollywood. Like right now, people can't see that we have like lights on in here.
Yeah.
When I was sitting up there with her, I could feel the heat
lights. Yes.
from the lights in that studio.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's like I'm on live TV with like I'm in front of a live audience trying to have an interview.
Yeah.
While it's the most, one of the most famous people I ever met. Yeah. That I'm on this show, and they like surprised me, like because the whole thing was like I got there because I was supposed to be interviewed for an online thing.
Oh, okay.
And so now they're doing a tour, and they're like, I didn't know they were trying to surprise me. Like, I'm just on this tour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, they announce like, oh, and this is where Ellen comes out, and these doors open up, and it's like her on stage. There's a ramp leading up stage, and I'm supposed to go up it.
Wow.
So my heart starts beating faster.
You're like, no, I'm not ready for this.
And so this is where my motto, stay ready. Like, stay ready, so I'm ready to get ready. I'm like, so my heart is thump, 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 thump. So I go up there, and she like gives me a hug. And when we start this interview, I'm having this outer body experience. Like, what is happening right? Like, while I'm talking, I'm like the meta thoughts that I'm having, because I'm like looking out here. My friends are here. I'm talking to her. I'm trying to think what I want to say. Yeah. Lots happening. Yeah. And so we get to commercial break. She says something along the lines of like, yo, you should come back. And I was like, oh, I'm coming back.
Oh,
like,
if you invite me, I'm here.
If you invite me, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I said those words to her. And we end the show, and like y'all should check that clip, but she awards me with $100,000. I had gone through some things. And we get off stage, and at the back, my heart pounding, and I'm just trying to process what just happened. Yeah. And I'm in the green room. There's producers back there. We're talking. Producers want to come out, or the producers want to talk to me. And one of the junior producers is like, yo, they don't ever do this. Like, they don't really talk to like this part of talent. So make me look good. And I'm like, all right, chill. I'm trying to Mecca, just be Mecca, just be yourself. So we're talking, and they mentioned that the audience got tickets to her 12 days of giveaways. Mm-hmm. Technically, because my boys were in the audience and I was on the show, we get tickets to 12 days of giveaways too, and we're coming back to the show. Nice. So when I talk about like, do I believe in like manifestation? Yeah. She invited me, and I told, look, I'm coming back. Yeah. Like, and just that quick, that turnaround, like right there. Back. I'm told you, I'm coming back. Yeah. Like,
that's beautiful, man. And I like, I'm starting to see that manifestation with like writing it down, like making it a little bit more easier. Like back to what you were saying about like how sometimes you think, I'm a person that is in my head. I've always been in my head. I always keep things in my head. I used to get in trouble in school a lot, like during math class, because I turn in my work and the answers would be right, but there'd be no, you know how they used to always
work.
they'd be like, you need to show your work. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't like writing it down. I just keep it in my head. But I'm the same way. Like, I'll keep it in my head, and then I'll forget about it. And then I'll be here scrambling, trying to figure out, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And then it's not in my head. And then I forget it. And then by the time I remember it, it's too late. You know what I mean? Not necessarily too late, but like, oh, now I already done have, you know what I'm saying, 3 videos that I did this week, and I could have did that one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And the craziest thing is like, it don't take much to just make the note, because you make the note and it's there.
And it's there, yeah.
There are so many. So oftentimes on social media, I will share one of the memes that's along the lines of like, man, I'm living in the prayers, like in the answered prayers that I prayed years ago, or I pray for these struggles that I have now. Mm-hmm. And there are times I look back at my like notes, and again, there's journals, growth journals of like, all right, this is what my goals are that I want. These are the things that I'm scared of. These are what I'm sick and tired. I've got a list of like, I'm sick and tired of being broke, or not being like, of being like not procrastinating, of not having a mentor, not having an assistant. And I see this list, and I'm like, 3-4 years later, I'm like, all right, I can check some of this stuff off of this list. Like and there's still some stuff that I are still an issue, but it's like, but I'm like, all right, I'm still getting closer because at least I can identify that it's there.
Yeah.
And I can make moves. Like I can identify that I've made steps in this arena, and I can, now I want to move and make some steps in this arena. It's like it's a trickle effect to me, and so, and just it's again, I wish I journaled more.
Yeah.
But I don't. But I try to when it comes to mind. And I try to capitalize on the energy in the moment. I'm just like, all right, Mecca, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just put something down. And I've never regretted putting something down. Yeah. That's the thing. I have never regretted making the note.
Yeah. And I just probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I went and got like a little whiteboard and I put it up there in my office and I started writing down videos and stuff. That. And it's been helping me, like I can come home, I can look at the whiteboard and be like, oh, okay, I need to do these 2 videos. I know what to do. You know what I mean? It gives me something to do and I can knock it off.
One of the guys that I work with, his brain works in a very project manager way. And so in my house, we've got big whiteboard that we just brain dump all different stuff. We'll have a strategy meeting. We'll call it strategy meeting, and it's just me talking because I'm good with keeping stuff up here, and he'll just write the stuff out, put the stuff out, and then I'll organize it later. And so having a whiteboard is going to be really good for just keeping your goals in front of you.
And ideas right there. Yeah. So going back to college ball and stuff, what was it like making it to that collegiate level? How did you feel a sense of accomplishment when you finally made it to that level? Or
so I played semi-pro, and I think what I'll say is the accomplishment was when we won our first championship.
Okay.
That was back to something about our manifestation. That was the first time that I could truly feel like something was visualized and it happened. Because at the beginning of the season, as a team, we all coach, they ran us through we're going to think or close our eyes and visualize it's the end of the season. We're in Shreveport in the championship and the clock is just ticked. We're champions and we are celebrating. We're in the locker room popping champagne. Yeah. And we spent a good little 20 minutes on it in the beginning, first time getting around or getting together with each other. And that season, we had a completely dominating season. Wow. End up in Shreveport, winning this championship. Wow. Spraying champagne. Yeah. The surreal. It was such a surreal thing because it was I've been here before. Yeah. It was having a deja vu moment. Right. And that moment for me let me know that. I think that was the first moment that just showed me visualization is extremely powerful. And so being at that level and having this moment where we won, we did this together, and that was probably peak athlete feeling.
I got you.
Outside of the little ones of the camaraderie and just being on the sideline
with the boys, yeah.
Because it's crazy. After my injury, people ask me whether or not I miss football, and it's I absolutely missed the game, but more than that, I miss just that camaraderie. When I watch football's fine for me to watch, but when they pan over to the sideline and everybody's just joking, I'm that hits me. I'm
that's what I think about too. That's what I think about would be the coolest thing about, and that's one thing that I kick myself about not continuing with sports as much is just having those guys. You know what I'm saying? Being with your team, on the bus, going to the game, having a grand time. Whenever you win, you're on the bus having fun. Coming back, if you lose, the bus is silent.
Everybody's there for you. We're gonna get through this together. But damn,
this sucks.
We all feeling this thing
just
together.
Got our ass whooped.
There's nothing like it, man. So when people ask me about sports, I'm look, my accident was an act, it was its own thing. I love the game of football, and I love what sports gives to people. You know what I mean? It gives us so much resilience and so much understanding how to be a team player, sportsmanship, just a lot. There's so much sports gives us, and I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, I mean, because even though sports in a sense may have taken a lot from you, it still gave you a lot in your new life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To give people hope and inspiration for, you know what I mean? Who knows if your impact would be as big as it was, had you just been a sport athlete,
And the thing is, I never really even consider it as sports taking a lot from me. It's I think that life in itself just does. It's again, like I said earlier, as far as wanting something, there's going to be a cost for it or a price to pay.
Yeah.
Life, we all pay a price to life in our own, forms and fashions. I work as a therapist now, and so I work with kids and I work with adults as a coach.
Okay.
And I hear so much pain.
Yeah.
I hear when people is interested, people might try to compare my pain to theirs, and they're like, somebody starts to say something like, but it's nothing like what you've gone through. I'm like, you don't know what I've gone through, and I don't know what you've gone through.
Right.
Your pain is your pain, and it's relative to like your experiences in your life.
Right.
Mine is mine, and like I've learned to carry my weight, and here I'm trying to teach you how to carry yours. My weight is giving me strength. You're about to buckle under the pressure of yours. So let me get it out your head that like my weight is heavier than yours. You trust me. I'm just trying to help you gain some strength to carry yours.
Weight is weight.
Weight is weight.
So So that after you won that championship, or that year that you won the championship, was that your first year on the team?
First year on the team. Second year was like on our way to repeat, and that was when I got the call to go to Missouri.
Okay.
And
whenever you went to Missouri, did you go there to play for another?
No, I was going to play for school.
Okay, so you were going to play for college.
They're giving me an opportunity to play college ball.
Got you. Okay.
And so that was huge for me because I had basically flunked out of college here.
Did you see that as like a possible route to the NFL or something different?
No, for sure. My route was going to be like, I'm going to go and I'm going to play ball and I'm going to go try out and just, all I've ever wanted is opportunity.
Just give me a chance.
Give me a chance. And so, I've always known that I was going to do something big. I mean, I just, whatever lane I choose to be in, like I'm going to give my all to it.
Right.
And so, that was my path. And then, things drastically
changed. Life kind of took a different turn.
So going into that, you're playing. You had gotten into the season, or were you just practicing?
We were into the season.
Okay. In the season,
probably already like 4 or 5 games in.
Got you.
We're playing in the game. We're playing a game in Arkansas. And this play I made 100 times. I go down and I make this tackle on kickoff.
Okay.
And crack. He goes down. I go down. And at that time, I instantly knew something was like up.
Immediately when you
hit? Just didn't know what was up.
Gotcha.
And then at the time, my teammates are kind of like telling me I can get up, and I'm like, give me a second, because I'm lucid. Mm-hmm. And it was after the trainers ran out, that was like, all right, something ain't right, because I'm trying to get up, but I can't get up.
Yeah.
And that is when they're starting to assess the situation and calling out different levels of cervical injuries, and I didn't know what that meant then. Mm-hmm. And then they, say C5, C6. I realized that I can't get up, and I'm just trying to breathe at this moment, and just the situation just goes from 0 to 100 very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so while I'm sitting there fighting for my breath and fighting for my life, it's like we're waiting for an ambulance to get there. Ambulance finally arrives, and they get me to the hospital, and that's when they tell me that I broke my neck and I got to do surgery in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so I do this 9-hour neck surgery. I'm in Arkansas for 10 days, and then I come back to Tulsa to rehabilitate. Okay. And I do rehab here for about 3 to 4 months. Okay. And then it's now it's time to pick up the pieces of life.
Yeah.
It's this 2009, summer of 2009, and my life exploded or imploded on itself. Right. And then it's 4 months later, it's rock bottom. Where do you go from here? Mm-hmm. And man, sometimes you just sit in the darkness for a little while.
Yeah.
And just kind of figure out how to move in the dark.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I can, I just got to figure out how to move in the dark, because life is tough right now.
And whenever you go through something like that, something where you saw your life going in such a different way, and then life ends up taking that unexpected turn. Sometimes you just need that time to just sit in the dark, and you know what I'm saying? Just not necessarily wallow, but to wallow. I
gotta. Because the thing is too is what I think what a lot of people don't know is after my injury is there's so much that comes with a spinal cord injury, and so much shifting of lifestyle that's happening in those months that I don't because it's it happens, and it's not it's in some parts it's an instant. In one instant, I go from being this, athlete that can run super fast, can lift all this weight, to being a person with a disability. And so that happens in an instant.
Right.
In one instant, I go from walking to like not being able to walk and having to use a wheelchair. But in a long instance, it's like my muscles are changing. My body is like settling into what like having a spinal cord injury really is. My organs and like my digestive patterns and all these different things that are happening, and it's like happening over time. So it's like after my injury, it's like, all right, is this like my new normal? And it's like, no, in 2 weeks, it's something else has changed. Like, wait, is this my new normal? No. And in a couple months, something else changes.
Yeah.
And that was a process over like 2-3 years.
Wow.
And so sitting in the dark is like darkness keeps changing. And so I am just trying to find myself and like more so be, touch and be tactile with my new self. Then what does that come with? Who am I from a social perspective, from the world perspective? Who am I to my family now, my friends?
Right.
And that part was probably like the hardest part going through it. Like, just things, just the way I have planned my life and built my life, all has crumbled, and I've got to rebuild. And
got to restart over.
Some things that you built up one way, that's like I can't even build like that no more because those people aren't showing up for me right now.
Yeah.
This thing that I was doing in my life ain't serving me right now. Chasing what I was chasing and what I thought was fun ain't really what I can chase and think be fun no more right now. Like, and so a complete overhaul of life, and then going through the identity aspect of it, brutal, because nobody really wants to stop and ask those hard questions of themselves.
Right.
Like, who am I and why am I on this earth?
Right.
Does my life even matter? Like, man, just the insecurities that I settle in because like I am unsure of my space in the world. Like, so now it's like not only questions of identity, it's questions of existentialism. Like, where do I fit on this, moving ball?
Right.
And there are days that I couldn't answer those questions. There are days where like answers would change. I'd be mad at myself. I'd be mad at God. I'd be mad at like everything. Just mad. And then, losing all of this control, hard, and just navigating like, how do I gain control of my life when I don't have control of like myself? And so I'm very lucky that I have a C5, C6 injury. And so like I can use my arms, my hands, and I've learned to like, be more independent. There's some, I've got friends that are higher levels and are unable to move their hands, but that control, getting that control back and then getting the control back of your life is more mental than it is physical.
That's what I was gonna say. It's probably just as tough mentally as it is physical, if not more tough. Honestly,
it's more
because the mental part of things is always the hardest. Like we were talking about earlier of doing those things. Going through the gym and going and getting past like the physical, pain it's the mental part of like telling yourself.
It supports the whole thing.
Yeah. So
like kind of that, and then there's the emotional part of like, now I have to rely on other people to help me.
Yeah.
And so egos can get in the way.
Yeah.
And so how do I get what I want without my ego getting in the way?
Right.
How do I get what I want when your ego gets in the way?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I still need your help.
Right.
And so how do I, be able to be emotionally intelligent enough to not, go off even when I have like a right to, or be able to ask for something with a level of grace that doesn't make someone feel like I'm trying to boss them around.
Right.
And that has been its own journey, and I'm still on that journey because it changes with every person. You know what I mean? Earlier today, I needed your help to, pull my shirt down and stuff.
Yeah.
There are sometimes where like I might ask someone for help and it'd be like, maybe I catch them on the wrong day and it's like, what? Like, or
what do you need now?
Like, what you need? Yeah. Or like, like, I'm not really comfortable doing this. Like, well, no, that I got. All right, on to the next one. You know, like
That's shitty too.
But I have gotten comfortable. Like now that I'm so comfortable with myself, like I'm fine with asking for help because it's a humility thing too. It's like
and that was something that I did notice too. Honestly, like whenever you did ask, I thought that, you know, I was like, dang, like he's not afraid to ask for help. I'm like, dang, that's what's up. You know, respect to him.
Well,
like,
that's a learn because I know. So there was like when I say living my best life was a plan. Mm-hmm. There are things that like there's going through that process, and that process was like, how do I become comfortable being out in the world? Mm-hmm. And I know that there are things that I'm gonna need some assistance with. I'm gonna have to kind of get my own ego out the way. Yeah, and that was not easy at first.
No, at all.
Man, like just because I already don't want people looking at me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, now I'm highlighting myself by, you know, having to ask a stranger for, you know, could you fix my foot? Could you do this or that? And again, some people react some ways, some people react different ways. But I found that, you know, for me, it's a chance for me to always like redeem my faith in humanity. Mm-hmm. You know, for the most part, people help. Like, you know, if you're polite, if you're, you know, you're not bossy, or you're not like condescending, or like people will help. Yeah. I do have the one time that someone didn't, and I think about it all the time.
What happened? Oh God!
I think about this all the time. I was going to go pick up a pizza from Little Caesars.
Hot and ready.
Hot and ready. Got me a hot and ready. I'm about to go smash out at the crib. I get the box. I go into my car, and I'm trying to put the box on my front seat, but the box hits my arm handle, and it's kind of tipped, and the pizza kind of is like trying to slip out the box.
Slide out the box.
So I can't fix it. So I go out. So I'm trying to just go get some help to fix this box. There's two women that are outside. They're talking to each other. And I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, would you mind helping me fix this pizza box? And the lady looks at me and she goes back to talk to her friend. I'm like, oh, she didn't hear me. Excuse me, miss? Can you mind helping me? Like, I got, I dropped this pizza and I don't want it to fall. You mind, like, help me? And she's like, no, like, said no, right to my I'm like, oh my God, it hurt my heart.
What?
So I'm like,
said no.
Straight no. And I'm parked right in front of like the Little Caesars. So then I'm going back toward the Little Caesars, and this guy is walking out the store. I'm like, oh, bet. He gonna help me.
Yeah.
Hey, my dog. Hey, bro. No. Hey, you mind helping me with this? Hey, man, nah, I can't help you. Walks and joins the ladies, and they all.
What the? Who are these people?
Who are these people?
Who are y'all, bro? Oh my God.
This is the beginning of my villain arc because I'm just group like, of
demons, bro.
What? Like, so I'm like just staring at them. I'm looking at them like, so y'all gonna do this to me? So I'm just waiting. And then finally, this family walks by, and I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, you mind if I can get some help? And then one of the kids like, I want to help you. Like, what do you need? And this little 8-year-old kid comes and helps me with my box. I go home, and I'm trying to eat this hot and ready pizza, but the only thing that's hot and ready is me. I'm eating it, and it's not even. I can't even enjoy it because all I can think about
pizza don't even taste good no more.
It's cold. It has been sitting out the box. All I can think about is this woman had a chance to save my hot and ready, and she looked me in the windows of my soul and said, "No,
no."
Oh man, and I had to, I have to remind myself that just because I remember that one no doesn't mean that I shouldn't remember the thousands of yeses that people have given me.
Yeah.
But I use that because I just know that that's how pain works. You know, there's good in this world, but sometimes the pain in it will cause us to focus on the pain more than the good. Mm-hmm. And I have to remember that our brains are wired to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she had
that makes me mad for you. That is a funny story, but that makes me mad for you.
Oh, she had me hot and ready.
I can only imagine.
Who are these people?
For real.
I can close my eyes and still see
their faces.
See their faces.
Ooh,
again,
boy. Was this in Tulsa too?
Man, right down there on 71st and Lewis, 81st and Lewis.
I'm finna go camp out. I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find them. It was you, bitch.
Oh,
I'm
man.
gonna find them. Oh,
still
man,
see the guy. Just can't believe you do that to me.
So, man.
So after you, whenever you get through with those surgeries and stuff like that, and like the doctors are telling you, like, hey, you might be, paralyzed forever. Is that something that you immediately was like, oh dang, like this is set in stone, or was that something that you were like, I'm not taking that,
So in the hospital, I wasn't taking it.
Yeah.
So, and that helped and hurt in some regards because, you go through the stages of grief and denial is one of them. And so I'm kind of in a level of denial while I'm in the hospital, but that denial is helping me like work out in the hospital. It's helping me like, wake up, hit the therapies, hit the rehab, like eat, rest, repeat, wake up, repeat. And while it helped in that time I was in the hospital, when it was time for me to leave the hospital, like it made leaving that much harder because now is when like life really
it's about to start.
It's starting like because in the hospital I've got doctors and nurses and
everybody there,
everything's there,
stuff,
everything is there at the push of a button. Now it's like I'm out the hospital and it's like people have stopped coming to visit. Like I got to deal with it.
How long were you in the hospital for?
4 months.
4 months.
So
okay.
4 months when I had the total time, 4.5 months total time of like injury to getting released. And then getting released, it's like, all right, I was ready to do everything, but now it's really settling in that I'm on a journey. Like, yo, this ain't finna be like, oh, I'm about to just return to football.
Yeah.
And because I really thought like, okay, because I called that coach. They called me. I was like, hey, coach, this is what happened, but I'm coming. Like, I'm gonna get through this hospital time, and I'm coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, focus on your recovery.
Yeah.
And the craziest things I tell people, like it's like I put my life on a shelf that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pick this thing back up when I get done with this hospital thing. And I get done with the hospital thing, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna pick this thing back up when I figure out this life thing. And as I'm like living life, I'm watching my old life expire on the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, oh, there is no going back to
back.
my life. So then I've got to adjust in my mentality then because it's like, okay, how do I? What was sucking for me was that I hadn't let go of my past life.
Right.
And holding on to that was affecting my current place.
Ability
to ability to even be present and plan a future.
Okay.
Because how do you plan a future if you're looking backwards?
You're stuck in the past.
Yeah. And so once I realized, like, all right, football's not coming back. The life, the way I knew it, is not coming back. How do I embrace the life that I'm currently living, and how do I plan from this point that I'm going to make? I'm going to live my best life.
Right.
And man, again, it took me a couple of years of just kind of sitting in that like space of like obscurity. There's nobody that I was in front of. There's nobody like I started working with the youth group maybe a year after my injury, but outside of that, it was just like it's me and me trying to serve and be a good human. And then it was like, okay, in 2009, the worst thing that's probably ever happened to me, like personally, outside of like someone close to me passing away, the worst thing that's happened to me has happened. How do I make each year better than the next year? And I took inventory. Like, all right, 2010 was better than 2009 for what reason?
Right.
2011 is better than 2010 for what reason?
Right.
And I continue, and I do this still to this day. At the end of the year, I do a year review and a year preview of like, all right, how was this year better than last? Because I feel if I can build from where I was at rock bottom, by the end of my life, I will have built like up to a great life.
Yeah,
and every year is better than the last.
Of course,
and
you can't complain. Yeah,
because I have my review preview process, that allows me to like track and keep me. It allows me to be present in my year and be open to the things that are available that are good and that I don't miss what good is happening. I stay in a level of gratitude. Like, heck, being on this podcast will show up on my year review at the end of this year, and I'm gonna love it because I hadn't done a podcast in a minute, and like and this is a dope podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Like I'm enjoying being here.
Yeah.
And so I know that this year is already shaping up to be one of my best years ever. I'm writing a book right now. I'm working with the United Way right now. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now that are all to set me up for the next 2 years even. Right. And so I already know the next 2 years are going to be like good years because
Yeah,
of this year.
because of
And
this
so
year,
it all set up, man.
Right, right. So, and you've talked about like being in those dark spots and stuff like that. What during those times, like especially in the beginning, was like self-harm ever something that kind of came into your mind, and how did you kind of navigate those thoughts if they did?
Self-harm in its own ways, like, you know, I hit my legs, like just trying to feel something.
Yeah.
And then there was more so the thoughts of like, you know, am I supposed to even be on this earth? Like, is this the end all be all? And I would just combat those thoughts with like, well, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, and that was kind of more so my like dialogue was like, it would go from what reason am I here for? Like, why am I here? To I got to be here for a reason. Like, because I could have died, but I didn't. So I got to be here for a reason.
Right.
And so I kind of just leaned into that, like, and leaned into making the best of a bad situation. But like not necessarily like, self-harm as far as, there are things that I think a lot of people that are, you know, paralyzed would tell you that they have done as far as like, you know, taking, you know, probably poking self, like, I really can't feel this, huh? Like, and then just like, okay, I need a Band-Aid. I went a little bit too far.
Have you seen that Talladega Nights?
Just like that. Just like that. Like, you are not paralyzed. I am.
I'm not paralyzed. I'm not. I can feel it.
Just like that, man. So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, but it's that mental space is really tough to navigate sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when things got super quiet. There was a lot of noise at first because, again, there's a lot of people come in to check in. And then the first day that my phone don't go off, not a notification on Facebook, Instagram, not a ring. That moment was like a thought came in. It was like, yo, did I just like disappear off the phone? Yeah, did everybody just forgot about me?
Yeah.
And man, I felt forgotten for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time. But then it was like, all right, I'm about to come out. I have to have a come out party. Like, let me fight for some of this independence. Let me fight for, like, I know that I'm better than the moment that I find myself in. And so what can I do to move off of this spot?
When was that? When do you, is there like a exact moment that you can pinpoint where it was like, you kind of had that, I'm going to start doing something to find myself.
So someone like a friend of mine. So I mentioned that I ran into a guy who introduced me to the football team.
Okay, yeah.
At the time, he used to work at this youth group and invited me to come to this youth group. And I think that when they had invited me to like volunteer there, and it was such a scary thing to do because there's all of these kids and kids ask the darndest questions and like all of this fear surrounding it. But at that time, the fear of staying in the same spot was greater than the fear of taking any step.
Right.
Like, so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to lean into moving in any direction. So leaning into like these opportunities, and it's like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
That was very, very helpful at the time because it was courage. Like, and that was something that I didn't know that I had at the time, but by sheer saying yes and showing up, like, it was like, okay, there's so much that happens by showing up. You get so much other things that like you don't even plan on getting by just showing up.
Right.
Like the experience is everything. What it does for your confidence to know that you said you're going to do something and you did it.
You did it.
That builds, and you build off of that.
Oh,
like to me, action gets traction. And so when you take action, like you start to like actually like move into like the things that you want to do. And so now you trust yourself a little bit more. You trust yourself a little bit more to call out a little bit more things. Like, all right, I said I was going to do this and I did it. Yeah. Let me see if I can say, let me throw that a little bit more. Let me say, talk a little bit further or cast out my vision a little bit higher.
Right.
And it's like you trust yourself a little bit more. And so that's kind of what happened. It was like there are moments that in the darkness, I took steps that I had no idea where they would lead. Right. And it helped me to trust myself a little bit more to do more things. Because like going back to school, terrifying process. Yeah. I already told you, like I flunked out of college. Yeah. And so to decide to go back to school, and I was like, oh no, like I would do this again. Yeah. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna lean in. And if I can't do something, I'm not going to be afraid to ask for help. And being not, again, not asking, being able to ask for help helped me get through college. And then I went and got my master's degree, and like, it's crazy now. Again, there's so many things that I'm doing now that I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just leaning in and showing up.
Yeah.
And, I'm getting something from it.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, even if you don't figure it out, as long as you tried, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I be thinking, like, there's a lot of things that I'm going to end up failing at, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to look at it as a failure, you can, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's really not even a fail. It's just, it taught me something, you know what I mean? Like, I used to sell sneakers, and eventually sneakers came to an end, but it taught me a lot about marketing. It taught me a lot about personability and talking to people and, you know what I'm saying, just striving for something, you know what I mean, building something and achieving something that you never thought that you could do, like I started off with one pair, and next thing you know, I had a table at SneakerCon with, you know what I'm saying, lots of pairs, you know what I mean? So it just ends up becoming something that you realize, like, man, all you got to do is just do it. All you got to do is just do it. And that's kind of how it was with this podcast too, man. Like,
I love that.
Been wanting to do it for such a long time, been talking about it, and finally just started it, just did it. Now here we are a year or something later. I've had so many guests on, so many inspiring people, and people that like I've been able to learn from and take something from, hopefully that my guests have been able to learn from. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, it's a beautiful thing making a goal and doing it. You know? So.
I think that, again, we as people abandon ourselves all the time. Like, whether it's like, again, you say you want to do something and then you put it off or you don't do it. And then that kind of creates this distrust of yourself. Again, what we're talking about here is building a personal trust by being accountable to yourself. And that's, again, showing up when you say you're going to show up.
Right.
And for me, showing up is one of my love languages. Like, I hope for people, like, as like my friends, people already, a lot of my friends know I'm usually going to be late, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Like, if I say I'm going to be there, I'm moving heaven and hell to be there, even if it is just for a little bit.
Right.
Because I try to be, I want to be a man of my word to not only other people, but I want to be a man of my word to myself. Right. And that is a way that I feel like will help me continue to grow as a person, like, and grow in a lot of different ways, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, financially, like vocationally, like just trusting myself to do what I say I want to do.
For sure. So everything that you like have been through and everything that you've achieved, do you feel like you deserve the life, or do you feel like you've deserved the cards that life have given you?
Oh yeah. I mean, because the cards that I've been given, I've played my hand very, very well. Right. I feel like the life that I'm living is a life that I deserve, and the life that I'm like, striving for is a life that I deserve, because I put in a lot of work. Like, right. I put in a lot of like effort into, making sure that the life that I'm living means something. And, everyone is driven by different things. Like, of course, I want my, when I faced death in the face and came on the other side, when I asked the question, what does life mean? My answer for that is, what life means, what can I do for others? What does my life mean to the other people that are around there? Grew up spiritually, and it's like, love God, love people, and if I'm going to love God, the only way that I can do that and reflect that is in treating what he created and what he says is important, good. And so I try to be a positive force for good for all people, young, old. With the people that I don't like and dislike, or people that might not like me, I still just try to. I'm trying to have some grace. I try to have some grace. I pray for them right now publicly. If they happen to be watching this, I forgive you. I forgive you if you're out there. And I just try to do good, and then I let that come back, because to me, we talked about earlier as far as like manifesting, there is so much good energy that I feel like I put out into the world, and then it's come back to me in different ways. Because I feel like the Ellen thing was that, when I think about how that unfolded, and when she read the letter that talks about how many people wrote into the show from Tulsa. Yeah. It's like one of those things that I'm like, that, to me, that's the people think that me going on the show is like huge. And it's like, that wasn't even the big part. The big part was like to me, that reflected the difference that I make in my
in your own community. Yeah,
because I can't think global if I don't make a difference local. And so I feel like the love that people have for me to even support me getting on that platform, that is what means more than anything. Having like the reputation that I have means everything, because that tells me that I've done right by people.
Right.
And I just want to keep doing right by people and doing right by myself. And I feel like the blessings that, rain down are much deserved for a lot of seeds that get planted.
Yeah.
And so
that was one of my questions too, was, how does it feel to be recognized on such a national stage for, the impact that you made in your community and stuff?
That part it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because again, there are people that put me on a pedestal just for being next to her. And I'm like, I ain't really that much. You don't got to put me on no pedestal because I'm just a regular dude.
Right.
But you really shouldn't. She's just a regular person too. Because I've talked to her, and she, again, one of the conversation we had was just, just how painful her life had been up to that point, and with certain things that were happening. I'm just like, dang, you were just super famous, but you're super human too.
Yeah.
I just, I think that when people recognize me for that, I feel a level of gratitude for sure, but I always kind of put it in the right perspective of like, okay, I more so I kind of take more significance from the people that, helped me get there versus just Ellen DeGeneres herself, even though I love her. Like she flipped my life, turned my life back on itself, back right after a lot of things went wrong.
Right. What was the response like whenever you came home? Like immediately, like did people kind of like, "Oh, you a celebrity now? You a celebrity."
And the craziest thing is that like prior to that, like people already know me around Tulsa.
Right.
And because the only reason why I even made it there is because so many people already know me around Tulsa. Yeah. And so like coming back and like again, there are people that will come up to me because they recognize me on the show. They saw the article, and then there are people that are just my friends in the city. Yeah. And there are people that are kids that I've worked with. Like, so even this day, like when I go out places, like if you see Mecca, come, you're going to say what's up. Yeah. And I'm always going to give people like time. I'm good to hang out and kick with people. But it was and coming back then, crazy. Yeah. Because I was getting recognized everywhere. I was in Philly. I was in Philly and the lady came up to me in Philly, like twice. There was I was in Philly, out just in the square there, and the lady stopped me. I was like, "Hey, did I see you on the Ellen show?" I was like, "Yeah." And then at a bar, the bartender was like, recognized me, broke down the tears and everything. I was like, yo, okay, that's wild. Like
that is a wild feeling,
reach
right?
is wild. I went on a cruise in August. Yeah. And a lady, someone stopped me there. Was like, "Hey, did I see you on the Ellen show?" I was like, "That's crazy."
That's me.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that you might have.
Yeah, right. Man, that is such a cool feeling though, man. Like, and you've probably gotten it a lot more than I have, but I remember once in Denver. I was in Denver. And this was around when like the time that I was making like sneaker content and stuff, and we were at one of the sneaker cons, and one of these guys walked by and he was like, "Yo, I seen one of your videos on YouTube."
Love it.
And I was just like, "What? Like, that's crazy." And I like asked him, asking him like where he was from and stuff. And he's like, "I'm from here in Denver." And I'm like, that's crazy that somebody all the way from Denver seen me and recognized me and was like, seen me in person, was like, "Yo, I seen your stuff." Like
those moments to me make me recognize how small the world is, but how big our individual worlds are and our reach is. Yeah. Because again, people think that their life don't matter. And it's like, actually, you do a little something. You could have a crazy reach. Like you could touch people that you'll never be in the same vicinity with because he ain't the only person that's seen your stuff. Right. You know what I mean? Like there's so many other people that will never get a chance to tell you that they saw your stuff, that have seen your stuff. But those are just the reminders. Like, dang, like this thing reaches.
Maybe
like,
I'm doing something all right in here. Yeah. So if you could go back and tell yourself one thing before, like right after your injury now.
Right after?
Yeah, right after your injury, what do you think you would tell yourself?
I would tell myself that it's dark right now, but hold on because you can find your light. Yeah. And then the light that you find, you'll use that light to light a path for other people to find theirs. Yeah. And I think that would be enough to, I think that is initially what I found like that was kind of the journey that I went through, and I think I would just go back and give myself the cheat code early. Like, hey, like once you find your light, you'll be able to shine and shine brightly, and you're going to help other people find their lights too.
Yeah.
And that would have put everything in the proper perspective for me.
For sure. What about before the injury, if you could go back and tell yourself?
Before my injury, I'd probably tell myself, like, hey, go back to school and, like, you know, be serious about school.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, yo, don't play football. Like, go back to school. Go be a smart nigga. Go get your education, bro. Like,
go play basketball or something.
Do something. Like, but then also would have probably added the back door. But whatever happens, find your light.
Find your light.
And know that if you find your light, you're going to shine your light for others. You're going to shine brightly. Yeah. And you're going to help people find theirs.
Yeah.
So don't do this. Go do something else. But if anything happens, be ready. Stay ready.
You know, that honestly is kind of one of my biggest regrets growing up is not like taking school seriously, you know, because I really could have made my life a lot easier had I taken school serious, you know. But I mean, it's a regret as far as just like the time wasted, you know. I wasted a lot of time, but I mean, it taught me a lot, you know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of life experiences because I didn't take that route, you know.
I think that is something for me too, because it was like, it wasn't even that I couldn't be good at school. I just didn't take it seriously.
I just didn't take it
like,
serious.
I'm super smart and evident. It's evident that, you know, intelligent. But that to me also shows that our model of education it needs to be changed. I'm a big proponent that education needs to be changed, because it's been the same way for hundreds of years, people don't learn the same way. Like, I'm a tactile learner. I got to touch it. I got to see it. I got to you know, be around it. And I think that, you know, had education been presented to me a little bit in a different like case, I probably would have done a little bit different, did something different. And also, I had no business going to like a big school. ORU is not a big school, but I applied to all those bigger schools. No way, no how would I have gotten through those, because
see, that's what I always wanted to do too. I wanted to go to the biggest school there was.
I know Georgia was actually the number one school that I wanted to go to. I wanted to be a Bulldog. I'm a Bulldog fan.
Yeah. And
when I graduated high school, Georgia was a top 5 party school. So when I put my application in, I actually revoked. I knew, like, I'm not going there. Yeah. I can't go there. Because they're a top 5 party school. I know what's going to happen when I get there. I know myself.
I'm going to be wild.
So I ended up at the Christian school. And it was still probably just as wild as I would have been. Just as wild as I would have been at UGA. Yeah. And that's the craziest thing. Is like, I'm glad that I ended up getting my undergrad degree from like a smaller school, because I needed to focus. My problem is focus. You put me in a big school, too many girls, lack of focus. Too much fun to be had.
Too much fun, man. Too much other stuff. Focus. Yeah.
And so I definitely know now that like intimate settings are better for me to learn.
Me too. And I'm just such a person. I'm a social person.
Me too.
I like to be around people. I like to talk to people, meet new people.
It distracts me.
It distracts me. It really does. And it's so much easier for me, like now in my life, to go to work, come home, sit down at my computer and work, you know, as opposed to like trying to go out and hang out at the bar with a few friends and then come do some work. Like most of the time, like if I get asked to go out somewhere, 9 times out of 10, I probably got some editing I gotta go do.
So you're in grind mode. I like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, 10, fortunately, but unfortunately.
Like, oh man, my friends know too. Like, they're like, Mega, come on out. I'm like, nah, I gotta go. Like, just stay, have a shot. Dang it. Like, all right. My self-control.
One shot.
My peer pressure, a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is.
A hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, getting to even now, like it's like I try to get the work in. Like this morning, I had to get some work done before I came here.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know, I've hacked myself enough to like create space, but I want to discipline myself to create more space and less time. Like reduce the time it takes me to do certain things that don't need to take me forever to do.
Right. Becoming more efficient.
Yeah, be more efficient. I just have to. It's the parts of me that are easily distracted. That's like I got to do something about this. Like,
and I still struggle with it too. Don't get me wrong, because I'll sit down at that computer and I'll pick up my phone and I'll be on my phone for 40 minutes just scrolling.
There's a book I read called Better Than Before, and it was like the Better Than Before, and it was the tagline is like how you can use habits to like shape your life. And this woman, Gretchen Rubin, writes about like she first does this analysis for you to identify what you like how you learn. Like, are you better energy in the morning, at night? Are you a person that likes novelty, or do you like things being the same? Are you social or not social? You know, and all these different things to find out about yourself. And then kind of goes through all these different habits that you can use, whether it be scheduling, time blocking, using environment to get work done, and all these different interventions for like using habits. And the thing that I learned about through that book was like, your habits can change based on you, because the things that I'll do for a season will work for a little while, and then I got to change it up and got to do something different. And so I know that I'm on a constant journey of like life hacking.
Right.
Like, because even the way that I journal and the way that I record stuff is not the same way that it'll be in the future.
Right.
I kind of, it's part of the reason why I want to start a podcast, because my podcast I'd like to be able to use to also like kind of have a historical recording or recollection of what's ever happening in the moment as my own way of diarying life. You know? And I know that's going to be a new way of like tracking and documenting life and things like that. So I'm a big proponent of finding out different hacks and knowing that those methods and your processes are always going to change. Your vision for your like the vision of your outcomes won't change as much, but your processes will. Right.
So what is it about like shaping the minds of the future that you find the most fulfilling?
I think helping people recognize that they're stronger than what they think they are is one of the things that I enjoy the most. And so when I talk about people mapping their future, sometimes it's like, how do I get there from here? And I like being able to help people think through the moment of like, you don't got to figure all that out. You just got to know that you want to be there, and know that, you know, get enough courage to move from where you are now closer to there.
To where you're trying to go.
Once you take that step, things will start to line out.
Oh yeah.
So I love helping people find their light in their own way, because light, it can be different. It can be light to illuminate darkness. It can be light in a fire to, propel something. And so I like helping people find their own respective life to propel themselves forward, shine a light on their own highlight, stuff for other people, just, change. Like I'm my whole process and my whole like curriculum is change management. Yeah. So I like just helping people navigate that.
How does a story like yours help a young child who might be going through something similar or trying to figure out, where they belong?
With the kids that I work with, I think that I am very authentic with them. I don't hide my own challenges. Right. And I think that when we're talking, like you heard me say earlier, like I never try to, like my pain is my pain. If we're here to talk about yours, I want you to make sure you feel completely validated in what you're going through. Right. And just know that I have navigated some painful spots before, so I am here to help you navigate yours. Yeah. Simple as that. A little bit
qualified, Was there anyone in your life whose story kind of stuck out in that way?
Man, that is interesting, because when I think about the mentors that I've had, like I've always looked for it. Like I found mentors in everything. And like, like my dad moved out here to help me live my life after my accident. Like that inspired me in one way. There was a guy named Nate Waters who was like the me before me, but he never really came to, like, I didn't have anyone that came to the hospital that like talked to me. And I go to the hospitals now to talk to people, after like injury stuff, but I didn't have that. But I just remember, again, during that time, just really being in this, like, I'm going to get through this. And then again, having to adjust after getting out the hospital was the biggest thing. But outside of that, it was like, I'd watch television shows. Like, man, it's going to sound crazy, but I was like watching like the Roadrunner and Coyote, and I'm looking at the Coyote like, dang dog, you got no give. Like you gonna keep going and going and going and going. I'm like,
God.
hey, if he can get up every single day and chase his dream,
Chase that thing, man.
like I can get up and chase mine. And like
Yeah.
that was something that really was like a thing. Like I just
Yeah.
looked for inspiration in
Wherever you could find it,
anywhere
yeah.
I could find it. And, make notes, take these lessons in and like let it fundamentally like change like my core. And so I think that my view of the world and myself relative to it is what has been the biggest mindset shift. And so that helps me, again, shoulder any burden that comes my way.
Right. So what made you want to make your story like public and kind of take it to social media?
Kids that I used to work with. Again, I worked with kids of this youth group, and I would speak, and at church they have you share your testimony, and I was like, I can tell you what's been done for me in my life. Like I was in a dark place, and you guys as kids are helping me. Y'all helped me get to a bright place, and there were those kids that actually planted the seed for me to be a speaker and a counselor. Like those dreams weren't dreams that I crafted on my own. They were dreams that were given to me from the young people that I was serving.
Nice.
And so it's crazy how I showed up thinking that I was going to give them something, and they gave me something.
Gave you something.
They gave me purpose again.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of leaning into it. And so I was like, all right, I've helped these kids go back to school, and I've watched a number of these kids graduate college and graduate high school. How many of them I'm going to watch graduate college before I go back to college and graduate? Yeah. And so I was like, all right, they inspired me to go back to school.
Nice. Nice. So it was like kind of during that time that you went and got your master's?
Mm-hmm. Well, undergrad. I had to go back and do everything. I did associates, then undergrad, and then master's. I did all like in a 7-8 year span.
Got you.
So that was a process.
Especially going back after you've already been through it. You know what I mean? Like it's probably a lot harder to go back to college as an adult than it is to go.
And I went with I went back with a lot of adults, and it was like again, it was a more intimate setting. That's what made it better for me, because it was like, all right, they not wasting time. Let me be sure I
line up with everybody else. And so in a world where like social media, is so heavily used to like fabricate lives and stuff like that, how important is it for you to remain authentic on your social media platform?
Very, because that's kind of what my love-hate relationship is with social media sometimes, because I am generally like, what you see is what you get. Like people ask me questions all the time of like, but Mecca, what about when you're down? I'm like, I'm as down as, I'm not as down. When they ask me that question, I'm like, I'm not as down as you think I am, because the way they ask the question is like, what about when you're like depressed? I'm like, I don't, like, again, I found my light. I can flip them on my switch. Right. But I will say there are moments that I go back and forth with like what I want to show on social media, because I go through battles every single day.
I bet, yeah.
When I sometimes the things I have to overcome before I even get out of bed are harder than people's worst days. And I don't know how to show some of those. Like, and there are some disability influencers out there that do a good job of like, I'm gonna show you what autonomic dysreflexia is. I'm gonna show you what it's like to have to get up and get in the shower, or get up and get out of bed. And I just try to get up and go. And so there are times where I'm like, all right, like the other week I was not feeling good. And I, in the moment, was gonna like, do I want to record this? Do I want to just grit it through? And I was like, all right, today I'm not gonna record. I'm just gonna get through this, because like, what do I really want to? What do I want to share? But I probably could, because there's nothing stopping me from it. But it's just a matter of like, sometimes when your life is public, there's like is a question that you ask, how much do you keep for yourself and how much do you put out there? Yeah. I'll probably never really put my relationship and stuff out there, because I'm a super public guy now, and like I don't know, I got people that ride for me, and people would probably ride for me too much in a place where it's like people just do too much.
They do too much sometimes.
People do too much.
Yeah.
But I try to be as authentic as can be. Like, again, what you see is what you get. I I would love if I did more of like ask Mecca, type deals and just let people ask questions and let me respond to them. But the role social media plays, like as a speaker, it can be a great tool. And I love using it to like get, messaging and like, inspirational things out. I just have to also remember that, this is, I'm still living a real life, even though I'm posting a real life,
Right.
So,
right.
Making sure that, that is also communicated and knowing what role social media plays for me. I used to be really good. I used to be on it all the time, like posting and stuff. And then I get notification overload. And so my texts will get behind, my phone calls get behind, because I don't like being on my phone like that.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, then it's like, all right, I'm gonna post something, but then it's like, if I post something, that just means that I'm about to have more notifications.
Yeah. You got to tend to the post.
So yeah,
I hate it, man.
That's my dilemma right now.
I want to be able to find someone. Like, that's one of those things I'm sick and tired of, man. I want to find like a social media person where they can just run all that, post everything for me, because I'm the same way. Like, I sometimes enjoy like just scrolling on my phone, but like I hate having to be on it and post and answer comments and respond and do all those things.
You're probably doing much better, because there are times where I just neglect it. Like I need to get better at it.
I do too. I just be like
while I have a guy that can shoot and edit content and stuff, like the people that are responding are responding to me,
Yeah.
And so there are just times I'm like, oh man, like hey, my bad. I know it's a week late, but I sent it.
Appreciate you though.
Thanks for the comment.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.
Right. So, man, for someone who wants to like get involved with you and maybe like help, you know what I'm saying, push your story, push your narrative, how does someone like help get involved with you?
Follow me on Instagram at Emeka Nnaka, at Emeka Nnaka, website emekannaka.com, and just like, share, also subscribe to YouTube. Like I try to put out some motivational stuff, and I'm always like looking for speaking gigs.
Okay.
I love speaking to just audiences, kids and adults.
Right.
I'm going to Denver in August for a Business Travel Association meeting. Got some things in the works. Still building this coaching curriculum. So I just connect with me and share whatever. If something resonates with you, share it.
Sweet, man. So we're pretty much done here. I just got one last little section with you. It's pretty much our hot take section. So I just got like a few questions for you, pretty much just your answer right off the top of the dome, type of thing. So number one, is Tom Brady better than Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Why?
Because Tom Brady has put in the process and the work. Like he's stood the test of time. He's the GOAT currently until
Mahomes.
Like he's the GOAT until.
Yeah.
So Mahomes is potential to be a GOAT.
Right.
But Tom is the GOAT
the GOAT.
And solidified it with that Super Bowl leaving with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Like, because when you talk about someone, again, the process that they put themselves through.
Yeah.
For one person to change teams and then affect that team and take them to the Super Bowl, how hard it actually is to do that.
Yeah.
That was when I knew, okay, he different. Because there's some out he different.
So this isn't part of the hot takes, but with that take, LeBron or Jordan?
That one's a lot harder. Like that one is a lot harder because Jordan, there are things Jordan did that ain't nobody gonna do. But there's things that LeBron has done that ain't nobody ever gonna do.
Yeah.
And so I think for those two GOATs for different reasons, it's hard, man. It's hard to take it away from Jordan because
I knew you was gonna go.
I'm wearing his shoes. Man, get
out, man. Get out of here, man.
He revolutionized the game, and the shoe thing is what I think about because everyone has to go through Jordan.
Yeah,
like everyone goes through Jordan.
That is true.
LeBron will pass away as like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Like, and because the thing is, people will look more friendly on everything that LeBron has done once he's done doing certain things. Yeah. Right now, people are just going to hate on him because he's still playing.
Yeah.
They don't really recognize all his stuff off the court, the school.
Yeah.
Like, the man is a mogul.
Yeah,
like, LeBron to me is what Jay-Z was to music.
Yeah.
Like he broke a barrier. Well, actually, I can't say Jordan didn't break that barrier with the shoes thing.
Right.
But LeBron is breaking other barriers that Jordan could never touch.
Yeah.
And so I think at the end when it's all said and done, LeBron will be regarded as the GOAT. Yeah. Like, it's just a matter of time. Yeah. Right now, he's still playing. And so,
LeBron number one. Y'all already know, man. So, with that being said, man, what's your favorite sneaker?
I'm wearing them.
Like, Jordan 11s or the Concords?
The Jordan 11 Concords. These are my favorite sneaker. And then the ones that I wear 1s, 4s, 3s.
Okay.
1s, 4s, 3s. Yep. 1s, 4s, 3s.
Got you.
And there are some 3s that are like, again, black cement 3s.
Classic.
Another favorite.
Got to get a pair of those. They're supposed to be re-releasing actually at the end of this year. So.
Oh, that's gonna be good to know.
Yeah.
Because I
got to get a pair of those, man.
The Space Jams are another favorite.
Okay.
I just love this. They did good with this style.
Yeah, the Concorde. It's one of the most famous styles. I think that was actually Jordan's favorite too. The Jordan 11.
It's just classic. Like I can dress them up and down. That's I think the versatility is what appeals to me. Because
3s are my favorite.
Those are fire, actually.
I love
too.
the 3s.
Like like which 3s are your favorite?
The Alma Meniere.
Oh, nice.
That's probably my favorite shoe of all time, honestly. Alma Meniere 3. Love that shoe.
I think I like those 4s, and I think I like. Well, I've got Georgetown 3s, but then black cement 3s are my favorite. And really, it's crazy. I just bought these Mocha 3s.
Okay. Yeah.
I love those shoes.
Like they're pretty much like this, except just brown, right?
I love
those. Are
shoes.
Clean.
Those look so good with like just
everything,
monochrome,
really.
like tan
especially
stuff, like light white,
like kind of earthy colors and stuff.
I love those.
Yeah,
so those are probably my best buy of last year.
Yeah,
or this year. I'm not sure when I got them this year.
Yeah. Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick bodied that nigga.
Come on, bro. Get out of here, bro. I hope whenever you leave here, you go to Little Caesars and them people is out there, bro. I hope they tell you no.
Hey, sorry, they not like us. Hey, look, Kendrick. Hey, I was in it for Drake too. I was on record of saying I don't think Kendrick can last as long as Drake. If it's hit for hit or like song for song, I don't think he's gonna last. And my God, he proved me to be wrong. Because every song was a banger too. It
was.
Because I listened to Euphoria. I listened to everything Kendrick put out. I listened to Push Ups, and that's it. And that's really it.
You don't like Family Matters?
But that Family Matters. That's more. That's a Kendrick one. You talking about me? Oh, Meet the Grams. I'm thinking about Meet the Grams.
Is
Family Matters. No, like I like the third. The third part. That was the one we broke. The third part was cold. I love that. Like you think you like I know you think you juice. Like see, I love that. That one's cold. I love that. But dang, that boy can't. And then have him drop that 30 minutes later. That was the craziest night.
That was. I was sitting in here going crazy because first I seen Drake dropped his, and I freaking lost my. Man, I had lost my laptop charger, so I couldn't make like a reaction because I was like, "Oh, I'm about to make a reaction video right now." He just dropped it. I'm gonna be the first one to put it out.
Thank goodness you didn't, because 30 minutes later,
did.
This rivalry is giving me such crazy nights because I went to the Drake J. Cole concert
in
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, me too.
And then coming back that night, my buddy's like, "Hey, Kendrick just like dropped a diss," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, like Metro and Future, they just dropped the album and there's a diss." And when I played like that, I was like, "Ooh, that beat!" Like, and then listening to it, Kendrick came out nasty. So aggressive.
Yeah, he did,
and he kept that same energy all the way through.
The biggest Drake fan, and I have like that on my playlist.
Hey.
And that song gets me turned when I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym, and I'm like, "Damn, man, this
let me just
get
one.
Hard,
I need
bro.
one. Let me get one.
I put
song.
on that like that. And next thing you know, I'm like, I can do extra sets.
Bro, my boy, he is straight. He's a big Drake fan too.
Yeah,
he won't even sing like that. He don't sing none of the Kendrick songs. I'm like, I know it hurts, man.
I know.
I was with you. I was at the concert. I thought Drake was gonna do it too, but my man hit him with some heavy ones.
I also think that Drake just he just didn't put out as many songs as Kendrick, because I think, in my opinion, I think that the two that Drake did compared to Kendrick's first two, I like Drake's more. But then, Kendrick just kind of kept going. But
Kendrick was like guerrilla warfare style. He came with all right, I'm about to drop. I'm gonna say something in this. I'm gonna drop something that's gonna preview something else, and then what I drop is gonna go back to what I said earlier in this thing. Like he was masterful with his execution.
It was nice.
Like
it was
that
nice.
6 a.m. in L.A. or whatever it was he dropped. I was just like, okay, you got to talking about he got a leak in his camp, and then to ultimately drop Family or Meet the Grams after Family Matters. It was like, oh, this man is playing chess. Yeah. Like that's what it was. He was playing chess while Drake was playing checkers. He thinking we're gonna go hit for hit, and Kendrick was like, nah. I'm coming for your queen. Yeah. I'm coming for your king. I'm coming for everybody. Yeah. I'm sorry though.
Still Team Drake though. Man.
I understand. Drake gonna come with a fire album.
He gonna come with something.
We still gonna listen to his album.
And that's what I think. At the end of the day, man, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, Drake's still gonna be way more relevant than Kendrick Lamar. You know.
I think both of them. I think this has done way more wonders for Kendrick than I think that statement could have rang true prior to this.
You think so?
I think now Kendrick has gone through. This was a war that everyone has been wanting. Yeah. Since Kendrick came out with Control. Yeah. Everyone wanted someone to address this man. Yeah. He just called out everyone. Yeah. Someone address him, and then he went for Drake. And Drake's not even Drake's fault because I don't think Drake did anything. Drake
didn't do nothing, bro. I don't even know why they coming for him,
when I think about it, I'm like, I don't even know what happened.
Bro,
what
bro.
sparked the shot?
Like why does everybody hate Drake all of a sudden, bro?
Right. See,
like, damn.
That part is something else. Drake is still, he's right. When he says he's the hit maker that they need, he's still going to be the hit maker. That's not going away. Yeah. But I think when it comes down to like real rap, everyone will always come back to this rap battle. Yeah. Like people won't revisit like Drake, Pusha T like that. I think everyone will come back Kendrick and Drake. Yeah. And Kendrick like
because it was like Tupac and Biggie, you know, it's like the two goats.
And then you got J. Cole bowing out. Somebody will come for J. Cole eventually just to make him do something like, bro, nah, you're not sitting this one out. I'm at your doorstep. And lost in all this too was the fact that Chris Brown tried to freaking body Quavo. Why was he so aggressive? When Chris Brown dropped his track, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Quavo gotta shoot him. Like, that's it.
You gotta kill him now, Quavo.
That's it. Like, and Quavo just quietly, look, don't respond to like I think Quavo responded. Chris Brown was like, I ain't gonna go back to this. I'm like, thank you, because at this point it'd just be bullying. Right?
I thought Quavo's his song was all right though.
It was all right, but
whenever he brought Takeoff in there,
but it wasn't what Chris did.
He called him a crackhead, Michael Jackson.
Man, that's old. Like,
told him he better beat it.
Nah, like because what Chris Brown did in Freak, I remember hearing that one. I was like, okay, that was the first shot. And then whenever he came out, when he was like, yeah, everybody wish, when Quavo or Takeoff there, everybody wish it was you. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
what is going on here? Like,
oh man,
he wants to fight this man for real. So,
oh man, what's the pettiest reason you stopped talking to a girl for?
Pettiest reason, it was more so out of my own embarrassment. I took her on a date, and this is like a long time ago. For any ladies who are out there, long time ago, took her on a date, car wasn't working. Didn't have enough cash. So she had to cover it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not talking to you.
I'm never talking to you again.
Like my first impression was not great. And I'm not going to let you relive that. I'm not going to relive it either.
Damn, somewhere in this world, that lady is like, some man took me on a date and his car declined.
Like, and I had to pay. What sucks man, I got to get some new cards. Because even right now, my credit cards are acting crazy because I go to the store and they be swiping and I'm like, hey, don't play me like that. Like, my wallet is eating my. I gotta get some new way of paying for stuff.
Oh man, bro. All right, last one that we got for you, man. Best athlete from Oklahoma.
Best athlete from Oklahoma. That goes to Prentice Elliott to me.
Prentice Elliott.
Like, because I played with him for the Oklahoma Thunder, and he was, again, better at basketball than he was football, but was a god at football. Yeah. Like, the catches this man can make, the speed that he can run with, like, just hands down best athlete I've ever seen.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And then Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Prince Elliott. All right, man. Well, man, that pretty much brings us to the end of what we got for today, man. I appreciate you coming on again, man. If you want to, go ahead and shout the people out one more time where they can find you on socials.
You guys find me at Emeka Nnaka, EMEKA, NNAKA, like Nancy, AKA. And the website, EmekaNnaka.com or livebeyondlabels.com.
Nice. And all those links will be in the description below. So if you guys want to check out some of his profiles, check out his website and all that stuff and get involved with what he's doing, you guys can have easy access to that down in the description. But, man, I appreciate you for coming on again today.
No, thank you, my brother.
For sure, man. That's going to be it for today, guys. That's going to be it for this week. Till next time. Till next week. Everybody hates Jabber. We out. Sweet, man.